Hey everybody, after my last video about the causes of codependency, I've had some questions about whether narcissistic parents can have an impact on whether we become codependent or not. So I want to take just a minute to address that, please. In a word, yes, narcissistic parents can absolutely teach us the patterns as children that lead us down the path of codependency. So I want to go through 5 of the ways that a narcissistic parent and the tendencies of a narcissist can undermine the healthy development and the healthy social relational development of a child. Number 1 is that the narcissist makes everything about them. Okay, so even things like birthday parties or sporting events or whatever else, whatever accomplishments or events the child is related to, the parent tends to filter everything through, how does this reflect on me? And the problem is that when the child grows up with that basic understanding, they struggle to recognize or invest in their own needs because they don't even recognize that they have needs. They just grow up highly focused on what the parent needs and what I can do to accommodate that. Number 2 is that narcissists can be incredibly unpredictable just day to day. They can be unpredictably angry, unpredictably overly loving, and everywhere in between. It's hard to know which person you're going to meet on a day-to-day basis or even hour to hour when you have a narcissist for a parent. And this puts the child in the position of trying to take responsibility for making that parent happy. That way we get the love and affection and acceptance that we need from that parent. And so I talked in the last video a lot about the child becoming responsible, taking responsibility for regulating the adults in their life, which is upside down. And you can check out that video if you want to hear more about that. But when narcissistic parents are so unpredictably variable in their emotional responses to things, it makes the kids kind of with emotional whiplash and wondering what they need to be doing differently so that mom or dad will act in ways that the child feels safe and fulfilling. Narcissists just tend to stir stuff up. They instigate conflict and drama. It's how the narcissist creates safety for themselves, because for a narcissist, safety comes through creating power differentials in their relationships. It comes through gaslighting. So they stir stuff up, they push your buttons, and then when you have understandably strong reactions to that, what do? They say, hey, you need to calm down. You need to settle down. And when that dynamic happens between a parent and a child, it is incredibly destructive. The child feels emotionally unsafe and there's instability in their relationships because they don't know who to trust. And when mom or dad seem upset, kid feels like they're responsible for that. But if mom or dad are just pushing their buttons to create that instability, it is incredibly destructive for the development of the child. And they carry that into adulthood and they don't feel safe or secure in their adult relationships. Narcissistic parents tend to be incredibly domineering. They don't like to be argued with. Now, of course, no parent likes to be argued with, but healthy parent-child relationships rest on a child starting to push boundaries and being shown in loving, stable ways that there are boundaries and you need to figure out how to develop your own independence working within a certain social system like a family. But with a narcissistic parent, it doesn't work that way. With a narcissistic parent, they are just incredibly domineering, and there's no real room for the child to develop a sense of independence because they just get squashed all the time. Related to that, then the child just becomes incredibly intolerant of criticism. See, in a healthy family where you don't have the dominance dynamic going on, then, let's say the child begins to act up a little bit. Well, the parent then steps in, sets a boundary, shows them how to do that, and also the criticism is the behavior correction. It's not about who you are as a person, but for a child of a narcissist, they can be called names. They can be told, oh, you're just incredibly petty. Why are you bothering me with this? And so children of narcissists grow up not being taught how to tolerate criticism, learn from it, grow from it. They're taught that the criticism is just kind of pushing them down and making them feel like less of a person. It's a shame response. Also, narcissistic parents, number 5, narcissistic parents can be dismissive or unsupportive, right? And so if kids have a band concert or a soccer game or whatnot, the narcissistic parent is often focused on what they want to be doing. And so a child of a narcissistic parent may struggle to even get to school events because the parents are like, hey, you need to find a ride. I'm not going. Or the child may be required to leave school events early, much to their chagrin, because the narcissistic parent just can't be bothered to stay for the entire thing. And so the child then develops this sense that they don't really deserve the love and attention of their parent because the parent is not supportive. They're dismissive of the child's need. Of course, as the child develops these codependent tendencies, what do? They start trying to earn that. They start trying to manipulate the relational dynamics with their parent so that they can get the love and acceptance. And so they develop this love is earned dynamic. And so to answer the question, can a narcissistic parent foster codependency in a child, thereby carrying codependent attitudes up into adulthood and wreaking havoc in our adult lives? Absolutely so. So let me know what you think. Do any of these things ring a bell for you? I'm curious to hear from you. Thanks for being here.